Tight, we bout to level up, catch us on the turnpike from city to city, state to state, coast to coast, man. Make no mistake, we are conquerors, more than conquerors. We are conquerors, more than conquerors.
Purring.
Hashtag press play. It's the Retro Philosophy Show, you know. Let's go. Kingdom alignment on assignment for the king. Hope you ready for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go for a ride. Got my specs on my side. She's my forever bride that keeps up alive. I'ma rev it up, so hold on tight. We bout to level up. Catch us on the turnpike from city to city, state to state, coast to coast, man. Make no mistake, we are conquerors, more than conquerors. We are conquerors, more than conquerors. Hashtag press play. It's the Retro Philosophy Show, you know. Let's go. Kingdom alignment on. Alignment on assignment for the king. Hope you ready for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go for a ride. Got my specs on my side. She's my forever bride that keeps up alive. I'ma rev it up, so hold on tight. We bout to level up. Catch us on the turnpike from city to city, state to state, coast to coast. Make no mistake, we are conquerors, more than conquerors. We are conquerors. Conquerors. Hashtag press play. It's the Retro Philosophy Show, you know. Let's go. Kingdom alignment on assignment for the king. Hope you ready for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go for a ride. Got my specs on my side. She's my forever bride that keeps up alive. I'ma rev it up, so hold on tight. We bout to level up. Catch us on the turnpike from city to city, state to state, coast to coast. Make no mistake, we are conquerors, more than conquerors. We are conquerors, more than conquerors. Hashtag press play. It's the Retro Philosophy Show, you know. Let's go. Kingdom alignment on assignment for the king. Hope you ready for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go for a ride. Got my specs on my side. She's my forever bride that keeps up alive. I'ma rev it up, so hold on tight. We bout to level up. Catch us on the turnpike from city to city, state to state, coast to coast. Make no mistake, we are conquerors, more than conquerors. We are conquerors, more than conquerors.
Found this location. The site that we're at right now is part of the Rosenwald school system. Rosenwald stepped up and he started building schools all the way up from Maryland all the way down to Georgia. This school here, or this building, was one here in eastern North Carolina. There's about 9 different locations here in North Carolina that fell under the Rosenwald education system. Some of the famous alums that attended this school, or one of these schools, let me pull my information up. During the 1930s, one in every 3 black children in the South attended the Rosenwald Institution. Mayor Angelo and Representative John Lewis from Georgia are among the alum of the consensual, consensuation of schools created by the partnership between former slave and the Tuskegee Institute, founder Booker T. Washington. So there's a lot of history about this organization and about the man who started this. Thursday, up in Raleigh, North Carolina, they had the premiere of a documentary on Roswell School. Also, PBS, has a series coming out that will be addressing the school, the founder, and how it impacted the freed slaves during that time, and the school system itself. So when you get back home, because we don't have any literature to hand out, I wish we had, go online, type it in, Google it, and like I say, PBS will come out with a special series on it, and that way you get all the information.
We have a community that we have to take care of. We have kids that are depending on us. I call them my scholars, I call them my future leaders, because that's what they are. And I let them know, don't forget about where you were raised. Be proud of where you come from and give back. It seems more family in Riverview Gardens. It would just be wonderful to get some people to get some of those jobs and help us get these scholars where they need to be. There's a new view on the horizon where learning is required.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is. It's your boy Retro with you on today. This is the day that I got to figure out which camera I'm supposed to be looking at. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad. And we want to thank everybody for tapping in on tonight. Thursday night, you already know what it is. Or if you do not know, let me introduce you. Let me explain to you. Typically on Thursday nights, we like to deal with things motorcycle ministry related. We will not exclude good conversation. So, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, let me see if I can do this real quickly here. Let's see here. So, tonight, what we are doing is we are expecting to hear from Andre Sweeney out of the West Coast. We spoke last week, and so he very well may be joining us on the broadcast on tonight. And so let's see here. Telephone number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, 980-222-4492. Should you desire to call in and conversate with your boy on tonight. The thing that I want to talk about tonight, while we wait for our guest, is simply the fact that you don't have to do it alone. I think sometimes we get the misunderstanding that, well, I just, we get the understanding sometimes that nobody can do it the way we do it, and that is a true statement. Not everyone can do things the way you do things, but the beauty of it is, they don't have to. God ordained that there be diversity in the church, and we might as well just jump right on into it, right? And so, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, you got to realize, number one, there should not be a thing such as competition. And if you're going to use the word competition, it ought to be friendly competition. It ought to be competition in a sense where it's just for the sake of us striving for more. Because here's the reality: sometimes we will settle for the status quo until someone else comes along and does a little bit better. And now you say, well, wait a minute now, I don't want to be outdone. And that's good. We should never want to be outdone. But it shouldn't be to a point where okay, let me put it this way. It's okay for godly competition, but we shouldn't be competing against each other, if that makes any kind of sense. Yes, no, maybe so. Y'all help me out here. Let me know if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. So, in other words, we see C1's on the live tonight. Good night, C1's. Thank you for joining. So C1's, he's doing his thing, and I'm like, well, wait a minute now. If he can do it, I can do it. But it shouldn't be to a point where now I'm striving against him and trying to make him look bad. No, 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 not like that. So I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that where you was doing all right, and then somebody else came along and they were doing things a little bit better, so it caused you to up your game and do a little bit better than what you were doing. And so that's what I'm talking about. Now, I've said this before, and you may or may not agree, or you may or may not understand. But we shouldn't compete, but we should complement. Yeah, we shouldn't compete with each other, but we should complement each other. And so, motorcycle ministry, you shouldn't be doing it by yourself. Jesus was the Son of God, right? And the Bible says, "In him dwelleth the fullness of the Godhead bodily." But yet and still, he had 12 homies who he relied on, leaned on, and depended on to help them get this ministry done. Yeah, 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 yeah. Are you hearing me today? And so, anyway, God ordained that there be diversity in the church. Let's look at the apostles. Yeah, the apostles, right? He had 12 of them, right? And each of them were distinctly different, and they were different by design. It was intended. It wasn't a problem that they were different one from another. It was necessary, quite frankly. And so we've got to stop looking at our differences and thinking that because we are different, that we are not on the same page or on the same team. One occasion they came to Jesus and they said, "We found one baptizing in your name," or something like that, and we forbid him. He said, "No, if he's not against us, then he's for us." And sometimes we create enemies out of our allies. Yeah, I'll say that one more time because I got a little junk. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we create enemies out of allies. They came for the purpose. They showed up for the purpose of being an ally. But because you were intimidated, you turned them into an enemy. You made them out to be an enemy, and it was never intended to be so from the beginning. Many moons ago, I was in a ministry, and there was a situation that occurred, and it was extremely confusing to me. And I was young in the Lord, and it was very confusing. And I went to the Lord about that thing, and I was talking to God because I needed help to understand what was going on. Because as a young man and as a young child of God, I just didn't think things should be going the way that they were going, and the Lord gave me an analogy. He showed me a vision. And I don't know if you're going to take this the wrong way or not. At this point, it is what it is. But this, and I've shared this before. And so the vision that he gave me, the analogy he gave me, was that of an individual who was in need of a transplant, right? And and so you have to be placed on a list for this organ, and while you're on the waiting list, waiting for an organ to come available, you could die. You may have heard stories like that because there's no telling how quickly you will get the call. We have a match. I never forget. I have a friend, and I don't think he will mind me sharing this. But Hugh Gordon is a friend of ours. My wife and I, we got to know him and his wife, and he was in need of a kidney, and so he had asked us to keep him in prayer. And so we said, "Yes, sir, we'll be praying." And so my wife and I were praying for he and his wife, and I never forget, I want to say it was Christmas Eve several years ago. We get a call, and on the other end of the phone call was his wife. And she said, "We just got the call. We just got the call. They found an organ." And she said, "We've got to be," I think it was Baptist. They said, "We've got to be at Baptist in such and such a time." They had a small window of opportunity to get from where they were to the hospital because time is what? Time is of the essence. And I remember saying that to him and them after it was all said and done. That was the best Christmas gift you could ask for because I want to say they got to call Christmas Eve, and and so they went up there. They were able to do the operation and everything. It was a success, and we saw them just this past weekend. As a matter of fact, just Monday passed, and they're still doing great, both of them. And so, but there are many people whose situations turn for the worse while they were waiting for an organ. Okay, now you find you're now check this out. You are next in line. You are next on the list, and an organ comes available only to find out that it's not a match, and so you have to wait for the next one. Okay, so you get the match, right? And now, but you're still not out of the woods because now you have to get there in time. And not only do you have to get there in time, but you've got to go through the operation. And we know there's been many of operations that were not successful. I'm taking the long way around Jacob's Bar, but stick with me for a moment, okay? And so you get the operation, and guess what? It's a success. There's no complications. The organ is in and it's functioning. But guess what? You're still not out of the woods. Because what happens is there's a time frame, there's a space of time where you have to be very careful because what's known to have happened is that the body rejects the organ. And as a result, the organ and the body dies. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying? some of us have looked at and perceived the very organ that came to sustain life as an infection, fighting it off, ultimately killing the entire body. And that's where many of us are right now. And then we're complaining that the Lord left me out. No, the Lord didn't leave you out there. You fought against what he sent to be your blessing. And in the church, we see it so often because, sometimes people come in out of the streets and they're unlearned. They don't know church culture. They don't know church protocol, but they love the Lord. But see, you're not worried about whether or not they love the Lord. You're too worried about whether or not they're going to adhere to your protocol, that they're going to adhere to your traditions. Let's not even talk about protocol, because protocol is just a set of rules or whatever that could be, amended, this, that, and the other. But you're so stuck in religion. I'm not trying to preach y'all, and you know what? He said that's deep, Pastor, and that is not my intention to be deep tonight. I want to be very, very lame. Stop fighting what God sent to bless you. Now, when the thing got, see, here's what you got to understand: the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow to it. Now, if you want to be made rich, there might be some things you gotta do that you don't want to do, like get up and go to work. And that list can go on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, let's make some noise. Miss Peach Red is in the building. God bless you, woman of God. It's so good to see you on the broadcast tonight. Thank you for joining us on tonight. She said, just preach, just preach. Come on now. C1s is backing her up. I got two that's telling me to preach, and I just might preach. Come on, somebody. If I can borrow a virtual organist and maybe a deacon, I just might preach. And Juanita done joined the broadcast too. I don't know if you saw the commercial, sis, but I've been playing the heck out of your commercial, girl, because I love it. I just love it. Let's make some noise for Juanita Shaw, my second favorite educator in the whole wide world. Only second, because my first favorite educator is my wife. Come on, somebody. Let's make some noise for these educators. God bless you as well, woman of God. And so we've got to realize that, sometimes God will send people our way and they will point out some stuff about you. And you be like, the audacity of who you think you is. I don't think I'm nobody. And I didn't even realize I was pointing out a situation that was so, soft, that was so touchy. I was just pointing out the obvious. I wasn't doing it to be, and I'm not even talking about me. I'm just talking, in general. Let me just say it this way. They're not pointing it out to hurt you. They're just pointing it out because it's the obvious. And so, but we get offended. Well, I've prayed this prayer, and I've also said that this prayer is a reckless prayer. And maybe you might understand after I explain it to you. But the prayer I have prayed many a times is, Lord, whatever it takes, I want to be ready. Dude, that's a mouthful though. Now, if being ready is the ultimate goal, then whatever happens in the process is just that, part of the process. But see, some of us, we're so easily I don't know who my Facebook user is. Please identify yourself so I can give you some props, because you just hit it on the nail right there. A hit dog will holler. I wish I had a dog sound effect. I'm gonna have to find me a barking sound effect. So maybe I don't know if you guys can. Okay, all right. But a hit dog will holler. Yes, it will indeed. Um, C1 said, "Go ahead and free us, brother. Preach." And so, yeah, and you know what, C1s, I like what you just said. Go ahead. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. See, look at me. I done read it wrong. It says, "Go ahead and feed us," and I just automatically read, "Go ahead and free us." But sometimes the thing that hurts you is the thing that will free you too. It'll feed you and free you. But you just got to get out of your feelings. Because sometimes you wrong. How do we get here? What we're talking about tonight is motorcycle ministry. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to do it alone. When it comes to ministry, It is not supposed to be a lone wolf situation. It's not supposed to be a lone ranger situation. No, no, no. Even in the Bible, he sent them out. Jesus sent them out in twos, by twos. Come on, somebody. And so if you back for another dose, my brother. Hey, watch out there now. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for World of Soul MC. Come on, somebody. And so if you are doing it by yourself, something's wrong. Jesus sent them out in twos. Yeah, he sent them out in twos. And so if you're doing it by here's what we say. Well, I just ain't got time for the food, so I ain't got time for the nonsense. No, that ain't the case. Don't nobody want to work with you. That's all it is. Yeah, yeah. And you don't want nobody working with you because you don't want nobody to tell you the truth. Because you can't handle the truth. Who was that? What show was that? What movie was that? I think that was Jack Nicholson or whatever. You see, you really can't handle the truth, and you always want to act like you a boss, and you ain't no boss. You ain't no boss. You are not a boss. You might be lost, but you ain't a boss. Okay, let me stop. I don't want y'all to think wrong of me. Um, but talk to me, folks. Talk to me. You know, ministry doesn't always look like ministry. Okay. And sometimes people are so stuck on the traditional picture of ministry or the traditional understanding of ministry, right? And if you really want to be effective in ministry, then you've got to focus on the subject or the people that you say you are ministering to. And so that means you've got to observe, you've got to listen. Otherwise, you can outreach them. Yeah, exactly what the word sounds like. Outreach them. Yeah, yeah. And so when it comes to oh, that's what it was, Juanita. A few good men. Okay, there we go. A few good men. You can't handle the truth. and and so you outreach them. And I have this thing, and I know it's a play on words, but instead of outreach, I believe in reach out. When you reach out, you reach them exactly where they are. But sometimes we're so stuck on our program, our agenda, and our way of doing things, and we don't maximize the opportunities as they present themselves. Let's get back to it. If you are doing it by yourself, something's wrong. And so the retro philosophy. So let's talk about me for a moment, okay? She says you are talking right there, and so I mentioned this. It may have been in this morning's broadcast or maybe yesterday's, but it's obvious. I'm rocking Kingdom Alignment, a Cam fam all day. It is what it is. Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry. That's who it is. That's who I rock with. It's an honor. It's a privilege. It's awesome working with the Cam fam. You know, the Lord has blessed us with some beautiful people inside and out, and we're growing by God's grace. However, it's not about the numbers, but I am grateful for the growth that we are seeing. I'm grateful for the ground we're able to cover in such a short time. I'm grateful for the platform He's given us, and we're doing our best to utilize it, to maximize it effectively, and reach souls, as we say in our vision statement. Let's put it up so everyone can see it. Bada boom, bada bang. Our vision is to encourage and nourish a love for motorcycling and a respect for the motorcycle community, while at the same time exemplifying the love of Christ, leading souls to the kingdom 1 mile at a time. Okay, that's our vision statement. Very precise, very to the point, very transparent, and I believe it's very understandable. Okay, now I do want to elaborate a little bit here, because there is a difference. Okay, so let's pick this apart. Our vision, okay, so that means what we see, and then okay, as we're trying to encourage. So if we take out the nourish, then we're not maximizing. Okay, if we were only to encourage a love for motorcycling, then we're encouraging it, but we're not helping people get there. Y'all not hearing me. A lot of people, oh yeah, man, ride your ride, but they never offer you the tools to even learn what your ride is, and so on and so forth. And so not only do we want to encourage a love for motorcycling, but we also want to nourish it. And I tell the team all the time, if I have anything to do with it, by God's grace, Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry will be seen and known as a teaching ministry. In other words, people will join our team and maybe not join our team. They may just associate with us. They may just, come in and fellowship with us. And as a result of the time spent with CAMFAM, with Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, they will be able to say, I learned such and such while I was hanging with that group of great people. I learned how to improve my ride. I learned how to improve my packing. I learned how to improve my gear, whatever the case may be, because what I know, I'm doing my best to teach. Now we are going to let's see if I've got the graphic up. I'll be all over the place, y'all. I don't have an agenda per se when I get on here to do my shows. I just, like tonight, I had, of course, the topic of what I wanted to talk about, but I don't have any bullet points or anything like that. I just go from the heart because it's natural for me to do it that way. What I'm looking for now, well, I'll just talk about it. We're going to be heading down to Jacksonville, Florida for the Iron Elite. It takes place February the 3rd. We'll be leaving on the 2nd, which is that Friday early morning. And then we'll stop halfway for dinner and fellowship with the group that's going to be riding with us. But anyway, our group meeting, our team meeting was Sunday past. And so when the team showed up at church, I had all this gear laid out. I had all my winter gear, but almost about every piece of my winter gear, and so we took the whole meeting for the most part to go over the proper gear, when to utilize which type of gear, and so on and so forth. Why? Because I want them to be ready. I want them to be aware. I want them to be equipped. See, if we get out and let's say we got 8 of us going down the road, and here me and my wife, we up there just as toasty because we got the heated gear, we got the thermos, we got this, we got that, we ready. But the rest of the team is back there freezing because they didn't realize how much the temperatures might drop from here to here. They didn't realize that leaving North Carolina they were going to be fine, but by the time they got to Ohio it was going to be like 20 degrees colder, whatever, and so on and so forth. So we want to be able to educate and teach not only the team but anyone that will listen how to be a better biker. So I said all that to say there's a difference between just encouraging, because you can tell people, yeah, man, you need to get out and ride your scoop, man, you need to get out and ride, but they get out there, they're encouraged, but they haven't been equipped, and you can use that where the word nourishes, and so it could actually leave a bad taste in their mouth because you souped them up to do something that they weren't actually prepared to do. And in life, I've seen that on so many levels. And so the Bible says on one occasion, and I want to try to apply it here. It says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So spiritually, you wanted to do something, but the flesh was too weak to sustain such a endeavor, such a move, such an attempt, if that makes sense. And so we, Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, when we ride with people, and I've been riding for a long time, and so I know one and a half things, maybe three and a half things, right? And so if I know more than someone who I'm riding with, I don't try to come off as a boss. I don't try to come off as a, this, that, and the other. I don't do that kind of stuff because I don't think that's effective. And so what I do is I try to encourage them. I try to show them a better way. Stop telling people to do. How do I want to say this? It is very dangerous to take something from a dog in a corner. If you want what he has, you might want to give him something else to replace what you want to take. And so sometimes, people will, because you're bashing their way of doing something, and they're going to fight tooth and nail because that's all they know. But if you offer them something better, they will relinquish what's not so good and take what's better if You have enough wisdom to offer it in such a way. Anybody ever saw that episode of The Cosby Show when he was talking to I forget the boy's name, but his daughter's boyfriend, and in short, what he said, it's not you that's the problem. He said, it's how you were presented to us, because she like just kind of like dropped them on them, told him at the last minute, whatever, something like that. But he gave him an analogy. Like a burger on a trash can, and he said, even if the trash can lid was clean, would you eat off of it? And he would say, that's how you were presented to us. And that's what some people do. They got good information, but the way they present it is so distasteful. It's so degrading, and so we have to be very careful not to do that. I don't even know how we got there. We were talking about if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. It was not meant for us to do it alone. Um, no man is an island unto himself. I promise you, you're gonna need somebody at some point in your life. And don't sit there talking about I got Jesus. As long as I got Jesus, I don't need nobody else. That's a lie from the pit. That's a lie. I thank God for Jesus. I got him too. But you will understand at some point you're gonna need somebody, because we are his hands and his feet. So don't ever get so high and mighty and so deep in God that you talk about you don't need your brother and your sister. That's not of God. That's deception. He said, how can you say you love me who you do not see and don't love your brother who you do see? So don't tell me you got a problem with me, but you good with God. He said, if you think your brother has an ought with you, leave your gift at the altar. First go and be reconciled, and then come back and offer up your gift. So miss me with all that stuff talking about I ain't got time for so and so. They just I can't be bothered. You can't be bothered because you owe them an apology. You can't be bothered because you know you did them wrong. I'm preaching better than you praise, and I'm just saying I feel like I is. I feel like I is. Okay, again, back to Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry. So the Retro Philosophy Show, y'all know I rock with Cam Fam, but this platform is not going to silence the voice of another motorcycle ministry. No, sir, no, man, we're not going to do that. Now, if you talking some foolishness, we'll hear you out. But if I prove it to be foolishness, then we're gonna pump the brakes on that. And the Bible even tells us that when you have a brother that's, in so many words, stirring up something, then you should mark that brother. I want to say it's in the book of Corinthians. Paul is writing about it. But anyway, my point is this. I would be foolish to think that Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry is the only motorcycle ministry that can do ministry. That would be ludicrous, in the words of Mike Tyson. Ludicrous, it's just no. And so we welcome other voices from other motorcycle ministries, because the old song we used to sing back in nursery school, the more we work together, the happier we will be. And so we want to promote inclusion. Um, I had a shirt. I should have brought. I meant to bring it in here, and it's. I think I left it in the kitchen. Um, but it's a T-shirt from a ministry that I consider to be a sister ministry, a brother ministry. We have so much in common, and that's United in Heaven Motorcycle Ministry out of California. Pastor JJ Aguilera and his crew, and we think so much of them and their ministry, and so again, we're not the only ones, man, and we welcome the voice of other motorcycle ministries and other ministers and things of that nature, because we can learn from one another. We really, really can. There are some people, you may have not experienced this, but you keep on breathing, you probably will. But there are some people, if they are making hot dogs, they're going to talk bad about everybody else who's trying to make hot dogs too, because they think if they talk bad about the other hot dog vendors, that everybody will come to them to get their hot dogs. But you talking so bad about the other hot dogs makes me want to find out, well, let me see for myself, because I'm that kind of guy, man. I don't believe I need to just take anybody's word, especially when it comes to negative stuff. Uh, help us, Holy Ghost. And so, um, again, sometimes God will raise up a ministry uh, to help you out. Now, statistically speaking, most churches don't. I'm trying to remember what the percentage was. It's a very small. I think it's 1% of the statistically speaking. And somebody fact check me on this. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's 1%. So the average church only reaches 1% of its population, of its neighborhood's population, or its city's population, or something like that, right? So what I'm saying is there is so much access as it relates to people that need to be reached. And here you are trying to shut down this one, trying to give this one a bad name, trying to, blot this one out. No, sir. We look here, we need more ministries. We don't have enough. You see, when it comes to ministry, we're not trying to hoard God's people. We're trying to lead people to God. And so, again, the more, the merrier. Anybody agree? What say ye? 980-222-4492 is the number. It doesn't seem like Mr. Sweeney is going to be able to join us tonight for whatever reason. And I do apologize. I should have gave him a follow-up phone call. But it's okay. It does happen. These Thursday nights, as I said last Thursday, will be more sporadic in nature, and less of a strict schedule, if you will. So if you are watching and you are part of a motorcycle ministry, or any kind of ministry for that matter, and you would like to voice your opinion, Thursdays is a night where I mean, shoot, I'll take it on any of my shows, but Thursday is a night that we're really trying to gear it toward as it relates to ministry, because I want to strategically build a platform not only for Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, but for some of the other motorcycle ministries as well, so that we could hopefully come together and reason together. Perhaps I've got an issue here in, Statesville area, and we could possibly, talk it through. I can share my experience, and you can share yours, and maybe together we can help each other get to a better conclusion. That's what it's all about. The Bible tells us, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, that in the multitude of counsel there is safety. Anybody ever heard that? Yeah, yeah. It's a true statement indeed. And the multitude of counsel, there is safety. And so, what some of us need, in my humble opinion, is we need to get out of our own heads. We need somebody else's perspective from time to time. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So again, 980-222-4492. That is the number scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We will not prolong the time above that which is necessary on tonight. Just simply wanted to hop on and talk a little bit, because we do not have to do it by ourselves. If you're doing it alone, then something is wrong. Furthermore, another movie, Juanita Shaw, if you're still watching with us tonight, I think I remember the title of this movie. I think it was Field of Dreams. Anybody remember that movie, Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Yeah, if you build it, they will come, is what the catch line was. And so, if that be the case, then if you are doing a good work, somebody's going to come. If you're doing it all by yourself, then maybe you don't have a good work. Okay. Now, again, we do have to be careful, because sometimes numbers can be deceptive. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Sometimes numbers can be deceptive. In other words, we think because we have great numbers that we're doing something great, and that is not always the case either. So we do have to be careful, because it can be, especially as it relates to numbers, can be very deceptive. A lot of times we think because the crowd is doing it, that must be the thing to do. But how many know that the majority can be wrong? I mean, look at some of our elections down through the years, right? Now, the person who gets in, he gets in through a majority vote, but sometimes the majority is wrong. Okay, let's not even go there. Look at yourself. Look how many times the majority of folk counted you out, hmm overlooked you. Yeah, didn't consider you. But look how God moved on your behalf anyhow. So be careful that you are allowing the masses or the multitude to persuade you the wrong way. The Bible says, woe unto you when all men speak well of you. Boy, it's not always easy, but if you follow God, he won't lead you astray and he won't lead you wrong, folks. He will not. And so, with that said and done, I want to talk to somebody on tonight before I get ready to get out of your way, uh, who feel as though it's just not working in your favor. Sometimes we've got to go through some things before we can get to some things. Let me say that one more time. Sometimes we've got to go through some things before we can get to some things. Okay, the Bible says, "After that you have suffered a while, I will establish you, settle you, strengthen you, and make you perfect." Could it perhaps be that God is building stamina in you, that He's building longevity in you, that He's building fortitude in you? Yeah, it very well could be. So keep on pressing, keep on doing what the good Lord has called you to do. And if you don't know what He's saying, keep doing what He said, my friend. Yeah, if you don't know what He is saying, keep doing what He said. My brothers and sisters, especially those working in ministry, motorcycle ministry specifically. Let's learn to come together. Let's also, in the spirit of learning to come together, or maybe I should say it this way, if we are going to come together, we've got to understand what the voice, how do I say this? We got to learn the voice and the sound of a discord sower. Now, one who tells you truth and hurts your feelings, one who tells you truth and riles you up, is not necessarily a discord sower. Okay. Now, you might want to label them as such because you mad that they told you the truth. And the reason why you're mad that they told you the truth is because nobody else has stood up to you before. You so used to just, puffing out your chest and huffing and puffing, and everybody just bowed down. Well, the days of everybody bowing down is over. I'm saying that come on now. You want the respect and earn it. Respect is earned and not given. And you cannot bully your way around no more. That's done and over with. It's done and over with. And so we have got to understand that there is a sound, and we have to distinguish that sound of a discord sower. hmm We've got to. That's why I love. Well, let me just say this, man. Cat Williams broke the internet, single-handedly broke the internet, man. I mean, he broke the internet. And some folks are saying this, and some folks are saying that, and but the boy just stood there flat-footed and just exposed some stuff. And I get it, a lot of folks saying some of the stuff he said wasn't true, but a lot of the stuff he said was undisputable. Like I heard, yes, sir, William, respect is earned and not given. We love and appreciate your unique and anointed ministry. Another godly perspective helps. If you build it, they will come. Doing a good work. Well, thank you, William. I appreciate that, man. We are trying, and that is not without obstacles. We certainly have our fair share of obstacles, but it comes with the territory. I shared with you guys once before on another broadcast. I was going through some things shortly after starting the ministry, and it about took me out. I just couldn't understand it because I was so gung ho for trying to do the things of God. and I remember going to the church. I sat there in my office. I think I was either in the office or in the sanctuary, and I was just, I might have been about in tears, and and it's as though God Himself walked in, put His arm around me, and said, "Son, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials that have come to try you, as though some strange thing has happened unto you." And so, Brother William and those that are watching, Casey, how you doing, cuz? Hope all is well. She says, "Good evening, Kun." Yes, ma'am. Good evening to you as well. Mother Bailey is in the building. God is good. He is so good, moms, and I'm just so appreciative for who He is and what He's done. He's done great things, whereof I am glad. And so, a lot of stuff comes with the territory. Who told you you was going to waltz in and just do the Lord's work and just, tear down the kingdom of darkness and not have any backlash? Now, I get it. Uh, I just read something earlier. You guys have probably read it before too. Um, and it was simply, it is not the wound that got you. It's when you turned around and saw who was holding the knife. We cannot do it alone. Son, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials. Yeah. And William, there have been times when I was hit with a low blow, right? And this is a transparent moment, so y'all don't judge me, okay? Just pray for me. And you get to that low place where you're kind of feeling sorry for yourself, and that's not a good place to be. It's like, Lord, here we go again, man. I'm doing the best I can, and every time I put one foot forward, I get knocked two steps back, and and you just begin to focus on that, and it's not good to focus on that. The Bible tells us, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are just, if there be any virtue, think on these things. So even though certain things are happening, we have to be careful what part of those things we think on. And think, when you think about the word think, it's a process, right? And so we have to be careful. And so sometimes if we're not careful, we'll be in a place, and then along comes somebody to try to get us out of that place and be like, "Oh man, I know you're going through, bro, but come on, man, let's get up, let's go bowling, let's go to," and you just want to soak in it. You just want to sit there and no, 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 no. That's why it's dangerous to do certain things alone, because sometimes it will hit you and you will get down, but you need somebody that will be there to push you when you need to be pushed, to pull you when you need to be pulled. Ministry is not a single man sport. It's just not. It's not. And if you're trying to do ministry alone, then you, my brother, are on a slippery slope. Praying for you, fam and church. Please, no ride in snow and ice. Okay, William, I will do my best not to do so. I'm gonna be honest with you. The first snowfall we get, oh man, I'm cranking it up and I'm going riding in the snow, man. Now the ice, I'm gonna leave the ice alone. I'm gonna leave the ice alone. I don't play with ice. But I am gonna hop in that snow first snowfall we get. Of course, I'm here in the Carolinas, so the snowfall we get will probably just be some flurries. It won't be anything too crazy. I'm trying to do a initiative 365. Ride my motorcycle every single day of the year. Yeah, I missed a day the other day, but I told my wife, I said it's a leap year, so I'm still in the game. I'm still in the game. But anyway, ministry is not a one man sport, if you will. Um, you know, um, and again, even you say, well, I'm not alone. I got my whole church. Well, who is your church connected to? Yeah, yeah. Are you connected to another body of churches? We have the privilege, Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry. We associate with another group of motorcycle ministries. They're all over, but there's a heavy cluster in the Northeast. And it's simply called United in Christ. And I mean to tell you, man, it's some great brothers. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Um, where are we at here? I think I might have. the graphic. Back in the end of the summer, I believe it was. We took off and went up to. Let me see if I got a graphic here. I should. Here we go, right here. I took off and went up to Pennsylvania for a men's conference, and it was sponsored by one of the ministries out of the group, United in Him. Excuse me, United in Christ motorcycle. Well, it's not a ministry; it's more like an association, if you will. And so what happens is yearly we get together and we fellowship a ministry. And so this year 2024 we Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry will be hosting the fellowship. So we will be sharing those dates here in the very near future. So just stay tuned to that. But this is just a few of the brothers here. You have Least of Saints president right here in the green jacket, and some of his members, um, Cross Soldiers, Righteous Riders, a whole bunch of motorcycle ministries, man, and it's a beautiful thing. So what are you telling me, Retro? What I'm telling you is to do ministry by yourself is dangerous because every man's way is right in his own eyes, and some of us we have begun to drink our own Kool-Aid, and we don't have anybody to check us. My phone will ring at any given time if something I do or say does not set right, if it's not kosher to who I am. Because see, sometimes your emotions will get the best of you, and I love it like that. Not that my your emotions get the best. I love it that there are people who love me enough and people who are comfortable enough with me to call my phone and check me if I got to be checked. And trust me, it has happened. I had one brother. I told him, I said, "Look, bro." He said, "Nah, man, I'm not trying to check you or nothing like that. I'm not trying to call you out." I said, "No, but and because he called me, he has some concerns, and hey, I welcome those. See, if your leadership cannot be questioned, then your leadership is questionable. If your vision can't be questioned, then your vision is questionable. If your movements can't be questioned, then your movements are questionable. Y'all not hearing me? If you don't like or allow questions, then something you doing ain't kosher. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why some people like to do ministry solo. So nobody can tell them what to do. So nobody can hold them accountable. They make up their own rules and change them when they get ready. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. I had one brother tell me about how they were doing this and they were doing that and they was the only ministry and blah blah blah. Um, And I'm sitting there, and the more I'm listening to him, the more he's becoming less and less believable. And I'm like something. And in the words of the OG Hero Benson, something in the milk ain't white. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something in the milk ain't white. You know, and yes, yes, sir, William. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. And some people will never be able to experience that because they don't know how to articulate a vision. They don't know how to, it's okay. Well, we're not gonna make it that kind of a show. But I agree, teamwork makes the dream work. And no, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yours or theirs. No Kool-Aid. If it ain't busting through the wall in the form of a picture, y'all remember the Kool-Aid commercial back in the day? Okay. If it ain't that kind of Kool-Aid, we ain't drinking it. Yeah. If it's a color I ain't used to, we ain't drinking it. If it ain't red, blue, we ain't drinking it. I mean, but seriously speaking, don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. It looks good. The colors are pretty and electrifying looking, but something in the milk ain't white. I'm just saying. And yes, question the vision. Now let's talk about that for a moment. Question the vision. First of all, without a vision, the people perish. Okay, that's what the Bible tells us. Um, but your vision ought to have a level of explanation and or at least yeah. And so if you are questioning my vision, then one or two things are happening. Okay. Let's go back to our vision statement here. If you are questioning my vision, then one or two things are happening. You are requiring more to go further, or there's not enough to sustain. So you've got to question the vision. I mean, if the vision is good, then it can withstand the questions. Okay, and you ought to be able to rattle off your vision statement at the drop of a dime. And even if you got a bad memory like me and you can't rattle it off word for word, you ought to be able to pull it up. And you ought to be able to read it, and you ought to be able to explain it. You ought to be able to expound on it. Come on, somebody, because these few little sentences is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just enough to wet your tongue. And so prayerfully it will create more questions, because this little bit right here is good. I want some more. So what next? And how are we going to do this? And so for you to oppose the questions, again, in the words of Mike Tyson, it's ludicrous. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I don't want to do ministry alone, and I don't want to do ministry by myself either. Oh, there's a difference. See, doing ministry alone is just you doing ministry by yourself. You got folk, but you ain't putting them in place. Come on, somebody. You know. So Casey says, right, that part. William says a level of explanation, the truth can withstand questions. Absolutely, it can, and a lot of times you allowing these questionings and addressing these questions, and you might not have all the answers to all of the questions, but the mere fact you allow time and space to reason together, it can solidify your leadership. It can encourage those who are walking alongside you. I don't really want to use the word followers. It can strengthen those who are walking alongside of you. Come on, somebody. And so again, if you are the kind of leader that opposes questions, then you need help. I question your ability to effectively lead. No, let me take that back, because a lot of people can lead very well, but they fail at proper leadership. See, to lead somebody means you're going to take them from North Carolina to New York, and you're going to get them there in record time. You're leading them there. But those folk will never, they couldn't tell you to save their life how to get back home. Leadership builds folk. And so not only am I taking you to New York, but by the time we get to New York, you're going to know how to get there on your own. Matter of fact, on the way back, we're gonna let you drive, because so that's the difference between just being led and being under effective leadership. Proper leadership, healthy leadership. So, like for me, for instance, and I'm not saying that I'm the best leader, but by golly, I'm no slouch either. Okay, um, but I was at a church fairly recently, and the pastor himself wasn't there, and so I'm ministering, and a young man is there, and he was talking out during service, right? Now, obviously, he's not, as I said earlier, he's not used to church culture per se, but his love for God was to be commended. And I wasn't intimidated. I wasn't offended. I didn't feel a least bit away about it, because number one, his heart was right. He wasn't trying to be disruptive. He wasn't trying to challenge or anything like that. So I welcomed his comments, and I elaborated with them, because here's the deal: if someone speaking out throws me off of what God has placed inside of me to share, then it ain't of God. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A lot of times they be trying to hush the babies, and they making more noise than the babies while they're trying to hush the baby. I'm like, leave that baby alone. That baby ain't bothering nobody. Just let that baby be the baby. And so anyway, I just welcome the brothers zeal and enthusiasm that he had for not only for God but for what God had done for him, and I actually just included him in my sermon, if you will, because see, I can stop at the drop of a dime, and if that thing's got to turn to the left, we're gonna turn to the left. If it's got to turn to the right, we're gonna turn to the right. See, that's the problem with a lot of people. I don't even know why I'm going here, man. But that's the problem with a lot of people. They are so stuck on their 3 points in a poem because they want to preach so bad and fail to understand that they miss an opportunity to minister. I will scratch my opportunity to preach every time for the opportunity to minister. Y'all miss that, especially y'all preachers and church folk. Y'all miss that all day long. Y'all miss that right there. God did not call anyone to preach. And I'll go toe to toe with anybody on that one. He did not. Don't tell me God called you to preach. I don't believe that. He didn't call. He didn't call me to preach. He called me to ministry. Preaching is what we do from time to time. Preaching is a spoken communication of a divine revelation with a view to persuasion that leads to repentance. So yeah, we're gonna preach, but the call was to ministry. The call was to serve. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples because you preach so eloquently. That ain't what it said in the book. He says, by this shall all men know that you are my disciples because you have love one to another. Not love for one another, but love one to another. Don't tell me you got love for me, but yet still you ain't giving it to me. If you ain't giving it to me, then I can't perceive it as love. And it might be control. Where Janet Jackson at? Control. Because see, some people take the how do I want to say this? Some people understand your craving for love, and they will dangle it right here to control you. If you don't do what I want, I'm not gonna give you my love. Man, get out of here, man. He said, by this shall all men know that you are my disciples because you have love, not one for one another, but love one to another. That means it's literally transferring. It's literally, you get the point? Okay. This hat is your hat, Casey. All right, cuz it's just your hat. I don't even had your name inscribed on it. But if I don't give it to you, what good is it going to do you? Okay, I can move on. I think I've made my point on that. Um, and so, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, God has called us to the ministry. And when you talk about ministry, you talk about work. Okay. Now let's look at this a little bit deeper. And hopefully this is helping somebody tonight. If it's helping you, say it's helping me. Um, Moses, y'all remember the Moses situation? Moses he was the first mega church pastor in Scripture. Okay, he had the biggest church, and it was killing him. You said no, it wasn't killing him. Well, it was killing his family. That's for sure. He sent his wife and children back home to Jethro. And after a day or so, Jethro said, hold on, wait a minute now. I know this ain't how this is supposed to work. So Jethro takes a trip to go see Moses. Okay. And when he gets there, brothers and sisters, he doesn't jump down Moses' throat and say, what you doing to my daughter? Why he didn't do that. He didn't do that. See, some of us were so quick to, huff and puff and jump on folks. But before you huff and puff and jump on folk, first learn to observe, because your perception might be off. Okay, so Jethro, he gets there, and he's looking around, he's checking out what's going on, and then you know what he did? He says, Moses, come here, let me holler at you, sir. And they sit down together, and Jethro tells Moses, you can't keep doing this. You're gonna kill yourself. And so I'm paraphrasing it. And so he instructs Moses to find 50 men. I believe it was 50 men, um, and allow them to handle the smaller matters, and the matters that they couldn't handle, filtered them up to Moses. Otherwise, he was saying, Moses, you're going to kill yourself. So, what's my point? My point is, Moses was trying to do ministry by himself. He was not trying to do ministry alone, but he was trying to do it by himself. You cannot do everything. I don't know if you guys, some of you who are watching, let me see who's all on tonight. Anyway, my point is, January 1, right? January 1st, we do our Genesis ride. Okay. And this is Lowrider, who is the vice president. Good brother. Shout out to Lowrider in the building. He's our vice president. And so Lowrider, he takes on the Genesis ride every single year. He finds the route, and that's his baby. And I don't be like, no, Lowrider, we ought to do this. No, sir, no, sir. You doing a good job, bro. Yes, that's a good route. I love it. Let's knock it out. He chooses the restaurant that we stop and eat at after the ride and everything, and he's doing a great job. I mean, I enjoy it. He's doing a really good job. If you have not came and rode with us on the Genesis ride, you're missing a treat. After the ride, we get to the local restaurant wherever Lowrider chooses, and then we will. This past year, we had such a great time, man. Miss Peach was there. Are you still on, sis? To minister is a gift. You got that right. It is a gift indeed. It is a gift, and it is not the prize. It's a gift, and the people are the prize. But some people act like to minister is the prize, and they want to be treated like kings and queens, and sometimes they don't even deserve it. But so we after we get back to the restaurant, Lowrider will then do a recap. This year, next year, what we will be doing is we will be honoring the member who comes in first place for the most miles of the year. And we're not promoting this as a badge of honor. We're just promoting it as a point of inspiration. Okay. We like to celebrate the accomplishments that our people have done. Now, at our biker blessing, well, we'll talk about that later. We'll be talking about that real soon. But anyway, my point is this, folks. I can't do this by myself. I don't want to do it by myself. I must, and you must. If you are a leader, you are pastor, president, or whatever your position of leadership is, you must strategically make room for those who are around you. You must intentionally allow space for those who you say you lead to work alongside you. I'm just saying. I don't know who this is for, but I hope you're listening. Okay. Because if you stop listening to the people around you, it's only a matter of time until they stop talking. And then you'll be sitting talking about they don't never bring no ideas. No, they brung them, but you just wouldn't listen. And every time they tried to do something, you tried to micromanage it. If they can't do it to your liking, then teach them. Bring them up to par. Don't bash them. Don't belittle them. Don't laugh at them, but encourage them and celebrate them. See, the problem is too many of us have been wowed by good leaders. Too many of us have been impressed by strong leaders. A strong leader ain't always the best leader. So sometimes they're so stern and they're so, and only in your presence. But okay. And we think that because they're so strong, they're a great leader. No, not necessarily so. Sometimes people present themselves as being strong when they're really the weakest. Exactly, William. Jethro taught Moses. He didn't belittle Moses. He sat him down privately and had the conversation. And he didn't just show up at church and say, "Look here, you're wrong for sending my daughter back home." He didn't fuss him out or nothing like that. He sat himself down and he observed. And as he observed, no doubt he realized Moses, what you're trying to do, I see what you're trying to do, but let me offer you a better way. Let me offer you a little bit more wisdom to apply to what you're doing, to delegate. There you go, William. To delegate is it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Now, when I hear the word delegate, William, the verse or the story that comes to mind is when he gave to each of them according to their several ability. Okay, when the Lord gave to the stewards, He gave unto them according to their several ability. Now here's what I want to say with that, and I'm gonna get ready to get out of your way. Don't give Ray a task that you know he can't fulfill. I mean, he colorblind and you put him over the color ministry. Come on, man. You setting him up for failure. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. Put him over the dance ministry, put him over the Sunday school, but don't put him over the color ministry. He's colorblind and you know it is. And you know he is. And so what I'm saying is if as a leader, if you delegate wrongly, you can damage people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you delegate, give them enough power, give them enough position, give them orders, give whatever it is you give them, make sure you give it according to their several ability. Now I get it. Some people they have an inner ability that you as a leader have to pull out of them and things of that nature. Um, but to give somebody a task that you know doggone well they're not able to do, that's not good. That's not good. And so with this particular parable, the one who received one talent was the one who didn't do nothing with it. And he knew he wouldn't do nothing with it. That's why he only gave him one. And there are situations where, you have to prove to people, because otherwise they say, well, you ain't never give me a chance. You ain't. No, I would have gave you a chance, but I know. So you give them case in point. Kings, was it Lord? Book of Kings? Maybe not Kings. Um, Let me see. I don't want to give you the wrong. I know it's in there. Let me see. It's actually Second Samuel, so I was definitely off. Well, I wasn't too far off. Um, okay, so in the book of Second Samuel, and I guess we can get ready to shut it down here a little bit. You're just on time, DJ FX. God bless you, sir. Welcome to the show on tonight. We are talking about motorcycle ministry. You do not have to do it alone. We have since hit up a whole lot of bullet points and talked about quite a bit of stuff. But right now, we're currently talking about the fact that, sometimes when delegating authority and delegating positions, you must delegate in a way where you're not putting more on someone than what they are able to do. So, as a leader, you've got to be able to read your people, you got to be able to understand people, and don't expect from people what they are not able to actually produce. Okay. However, there comes a time where people just want to do, and sometimes you've got to just, and so here in the book of Second Samuel, let's see here. Let me back up to verse number. Let's see here. Okay, so verse number 18. Maybe we start there. No, 19 maybe. Okay, so verse number 19. Okay, Second Samuel chapter 18, verse number 19. All right. I'm gonna let you go ahead in just a little bit. Then said Emahaz, the son of Zodok, let me run now and bear the king tidings, how that the Lord hath avenged him of his enemies. Now we see Absalom has died. And so, in these days they had runners, and the runners were the individuals who would run with the news so that, because they didn't have Facebook and nobody could, tweet what was happening on the battlefield. And so Emahaz, he wanted to be a runner. And so he wanted to bring tidings to the king that his enemy has died. However, this enemy was also his son. And Joab said unto him, thou shalt not bear tidings this day, but thou shalt bear tidings another day. Okay. Now, Joab is the king of is the leader of the army, if you will. And he's telling his brother, look, I know you got potential, but this ain't your assignment. But it's not good enough for this brother. Okay. So let's continue to read and we'll get out of your way. Okay, so Joab said unto him, thou shalt not bear tidings this day, but thou shalt bear tidings another day. You got to realize, folks, and you got to understand that not every assignment is your assignment. I know you're in place, but sometimes we got to learn to bow out gracefully. Okay, let me move on. But this day thou shalt bear no tidings, because the king's son is dead. So let's look at this for a moment. Joab is over the army. Okay. David's son, Absalom, is now dead. Joab understands what's going on here, whereas Emahaz does not. There's a whole lot going on right here. Thank you, William. 2 Samuel chapter 18. That's right. Dude lost his life. He lost his life. And here Emahaz just wants to run with the tidings. That's that man's son. Have some koof about yourself. And see, that's what a lot of people don't have. They don't have any koof about themselves. They don't have. Okay. All right. So Joab is like, the king's son is dead. Then said Joab to Cushai, go tell the king what thou hast seen. And Cushai bowed himself unto Joab and ran. Now, Joab chooses Cushai because Cushai was more experienced. Maybe, well, obviously, he was not the fastest runner. You'll see that here in a little bit. He was not the fastest runner. So, in other words, sometimes you might think I'm not the man for the job because I don't have as many followers as so and so, or I don't have as big of a church as so and so. But Joab chose him according to his several ability. He had an ability to understand what was going on between the lines. He understood the relationship that David had with Absalom, and he understood the love that David had for Absalom. And so therefore he would handle the tiding differently than Emahaz would have. And we see that play out here in just a moment. And so we've got to be very careful, because sometimes we are giving the wrong person the right job and the right person the wrong job. Y'all think about that. Let that sink in for a moment. That's a Selah moment. So Joab says, nope, not today, Emahaz. You'll run another day, but this ain't yours. This ain't for you. And he then chooses Cushai, right? So Cushai bowed himself unto Joab and ran. Then said Emahaz, the son of Zodok, yet again to Joab, but howsoever, let me, I pray thee, also run after Cushai. And Joab said, wherefore wilt thou run, my son, seeing thou hast no tidings ready? Now, Joab has already sent Cushai. He's already on the way with news. And here Emahaz still saying, let me run, let me run, let me run. Help us, Lord. Let me see here. So Joab says, you don't have anything ready. You don't have any tidings ready. Look at verse number 23. Again, 2 Samuel chapter 18, verse 23. But howsoever, said he, let me run. Even he said, look, I know, but still let me run. Let me run. Still let me run. A lot of folks are running, but they ain't going nowhere. A lot of folks is running, but they ain't got no message. A lot of folks is out there, but they ain't doing nothing. They just in the way. They just in the way. He says, but let me run. And he said unto him, run. I said, all right, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You know, um, then Emma ran by the way of the plain and overran Cushai. Now, remember earlier I said Cushai wasn't the fastest runner, but he was the man for the job. So Cushai has a head start, if you will, and Emma still outruns him. A lot of folks will outrun you, but they ain't got a word. A lot of folk, man, look at here. They will get there before you get there. But let's continue to read. I think this is a good lesson tonight. And David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man running alone. And the watchman cried and told the king, and the king said, if he be alone, there is tidings in his mouth. And he came a space and drew near. He said, if he's alone, then he's coming to bring news. So okay, all right. Verse 26, and the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called unto the porter and said, behold, another man running alone. And the king said, he also bringeth tidings. And the watchman said, methinketh the running of, and that's what exactly how it reads here in the King James Version, methinketh the running of the foremost is like the running of Emahaz, the son of Zodok. And the king said, he is a good man and cometh with good tidings. He's a good man and cometh with good tidings, is what the king says. So obviously, is known for how he runs, because the watchman was able to see him from a distance and tell by his style of running that must be Zodak's son. Okay, and called and said unto the king, all is well. And he fell down to the earth upon his face before the king and said, blessed be the Lord thy God, which hath delivered up the men that lifted up their hand against my lord the king. And the king said and the king said, is the young man Absalom safe? And Emma answered, when Joab sent the king's servant and me thy servant, I saw a great tumult, but I know not what it was. And the king said unto him, turn aside and stand here. And he turned aside and stood still. And behold, Cushai came, and Cushai said, tidings, my lord the king, for the Lord hath avenged thee this day of all them that rose up against thee. And the king said unto Cushai, is the young man Absalom safe? And Cushai answered, the enemies of my lord the king, and all that rise against thee to do thee hurt, be as that young man is. And so the point is, Cushai was the one who had the word. Emma just wanted to run, just to run. It's your boy Retro with you on tonight, man. Look at him, man. From the bottom of my heart, I want you to know that I got nothing but love for you. And if you'll let me, I'll give it to you. I got nothing but love for you. And if you'll let me, I'll give it to you. Yeah, I'll give it to you. I pray that everyone has a good night tonight and a great day tomorrow and the rest of your week, as well as your weekend. But if you are walking in ministry, stop thinking you've got to do it alone. Stop thinking because you are fast that you are the one for the job. You know, sometimes you are nothing but a forerunner. John the Baptist says, look, there's coming one after me who's mightier than I am. Can you deal with the mightier than you? Can you deal with the one the mightier that comes after you? J- I need to say this for tomorrow, but I can't hold it, y'all. It's too hot. I can't hold it. Um, John the Baptist, ladies and gentlemen, had just um, graduated from a storefront church to a mega church, just like that. Yeah. When you look at the text, John the Baptist is in the River Jordan baptizing the folks, and he looks, and there's a multitude coming to be baptized. And John the Baptist says, "O ye generation of vipers, who has warned you to flee the wrath to come?" you know, but he doesn't hold his tongue, and he tells him, "Look, I ain't nobody. There's coming one after me who's mightier than I am, whose shoelaces I can't even tie." You know, and so many of us would never be able to do that because when we see the crowds, we would have got the big heads, and been so impressed by the numbers and so on and so forth. And but no, no, no. If you are just a forerunner, then do your job and make way for he that's greater. The Bible says, "Greater is he that's within me than he that's within the world." If I don't leave you with anything, please remember what I said in the beginning. We're not here to compete. We're here to complement one another. Okay? So I charge you to make a conscious effort to work together with your fellow brothers and sisters in the ministry. Yeah. Okay. I challenge you to do that. I also challenge you to put a stop to the nonsense. I read something a while ago, and if I would have been thinking, I would have snagged it as a graphic. Let me see something here. But it simply said, "Gossip stops when it meets anointed ears." Can I say that one more time? Gossip stops when it meets anointed ears. I'm looking for my other graphic, folks, so I can put back up here. Let me do this. Yeah, gossip stops when it meets anointed ears. Okay. So, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this year, in this season that we find ourselves in, let us not allow negative talk and gossip to flourish. Okay. Don't allow anyone to turn you into nobody's trash can. Okay. If someone is talking to you negatively about somebody, this is what I'm doing in 2024. Well, let me get them on the phone. I got them on speed dial, and I promise you, folks will stop coming to you with the nonsense. Okay. Um, if you're not a part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. Okay. And we must stop allowing people to tear other people down. Yeah, we got to stop that. All right. Any questions or any comments, man? Because I'm done for the evening. I love you, and nothing you can do about it. God is love, and I love you too, Mom. You already know what it is. I love you, love you, love you. For God so loved the world that He created Valerie. Hey, my mother-in-law in the building, folks. Make some noise for my beautiful mother-in-law. Amen. 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 Um, so, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lonnie Dottie, if you, I'm doing a quick no shame. Yes, stop with the nonsense. Got to stop with the nonsense, man. We got to stop with the nonsense. Start making people uncomfortable with spreading gossip. hmm Yeah, yeah, yeah. Start making folk uncomfortable with spreading gossip and foolishness and all that stuff. It's too late in the day, man. God's coming back, and we got to get ready. We ain't got time for the foolishness. We don't have time for the foolishness. Praise God for ministry across the world who are in it for the kingdom and not for the look. That whole part right there. That whole part right there. In it for the kingdom and not for the look. All right. And at the end of the day, here's the deal. We're talking, as you mentioned, not in it for the look, right? Um, we have the parable of the uh the tear that was sold among the wheat, right? And so they said, first of all, they said, "Who did this?" And he said, "While you slept, the enemy sowed tear among the wheat." And they then inquire whether or not he wanted them to go and remove it. He says, "No, no, 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 leave it alone. I'll handle it at the day of harvest." Because of the look, they look so similar in the beginning stages, you know and if you're not spirit filled, and spirit led, and if you have no discernment, you're gonna be tricked because it looks so believable. It looks so this, that, and the other, you know. But listen here, it's got to be more than the look. So here's what you do, folks. If you don't want to be tricked by the look, um, a lot of folk got these expensive designer bags and they're knockoffs, and you wouldn't be able to tell it, you know. But here's as far as the kingdom is concerned. Here's what you got to look for, folks. Don't look for the look, because when Samuel went to anoint one of Jesse's sons to be king, he was tricked by the look. He said, what is it, the eldest son, Eliab or whatever his name was. He said, surely this is God's anointed, because he looked the part, but he wasn't. It was in David. So in 2024, don't go by what they say. Don't go by what they have. You want to know what you go by? Don't go by their gifting, because giftings and callings are without repentance. Look for the fruit. 2024, look for fruit. Don't be impressed by gifts. Don't be impressed by, you know, whatever else they may have, you know. Shoot, just because a joker got a fancy motorcycle don't mean you know how to ride it. You mess around like, yeah, you get out there on that road with that joker and mess around and tear up everybody. All he had was a little bit of money, got him a nice bike, and don't even know how to ride that. Okay, anyway. Look for the fruit is all I'm simply trying to say. Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry in the building. Yes, William, we people get ready. We got to get ready, because he's coming back, and he's coming like a thief in the night. No man knoweth the day nor the hour wherein he shall return. But one thing you know for sure, or at least one thing I know for sure, is that he's coming back. And I want to be ready. I don't want to hear him say, depart from me, ye work of iniquity. I never knew you. I don't want to hear him say that. I want to hear him say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Okay. And so if I want to hear him say that, then I got to make sure I forgive before it's too late. I got to make sure I let go before it's too late. I got to make sure I get some things right before it's too late. And so do you. Okay. And that's what ministry is all about. It's not about shaming. You can't shame nobody into heaven. I don't even believe in going to heaven hell scared. I heard somebody say the other day, we need more fire preaching. No, we don't. We need more love examples. That's my take on it. Yeah, that's my take on it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look for the fruit. Yeah, we got to look for the fruit. We got to look for the fruit, man. And so, yeah, I don't believe you gonna make it to heaven hell scared. You make it to heaven because you've been born again, baptized in his name, filled with the Holy Ghost. Come on, somebody, living a life set apart for his use. And you're doing it not out of fear, but you're doing it because of love. The story of the cross is not a gory story, it's a love story. God is love. And so, yeah, I ain't going to heaven hell scared. I'm going to heaven because I love the Lord. I'm going to heaven. And he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. I've been preaching way too long not to get an offer tonight, y'all. Let me hurry up and get on out y'all's way. I'm just saying, man, how long I've been up here? Oh, my Lord, I'm way over my time. I'm way over my time. Look here, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on tonight. We need more loving examples. I mean, true story, William. That's what we need, you know? Yeah, don't beat me up with the word. Lead me with the word, you know? And everything will be all right. The fruit of the Father is all around us, MM and MC alike. Uh, that's an oxymoron there, Brother Jeff. MM and MC alike, they're two different things. I don't know how they can really be alike. They may have some similar things, but they're two different things at the same time. Motorcycle ministry, motorcycle club. So they're two different things there. And I think that goes back to what you said a little while ago as far as the look. and so we have to be very careful. Now, I do understand there are some Christian motorcycle clubs, and tomato, tomato. Um, but an MM is just that, an MM, and an MC is just that, an MC. The Bible says, "Put a difference between clean and unclean, between holy and unholy," and it's not to make the MC into a bad guy or anything like that, but we must understand the difference, and the difference between the two is the governing power you know. So there are some things that MCs can do that an MM should never do. It doesn't make those in an MC bad people, but it just means that we have different, alliances, and we have different motivations, and yeah, and so we're governed by a different power, if you will. And if the MM would do its job the way the MM should do its job, then we will have more MCs becoming MMs and not MMs becoming MCs. We got too many people in the motorcycle ministry community now that are idolizing the MC set. Now, if we go back to our and that's what Thursday nights is about. I mean, I'm speaking to motorcycle ministries and those who are, and so if we go back here, our vision is to encourage and nourish a love for motorcycling and a respect for the motorcycle community. Now, you can't minister to somebody or something that you don't respect. You ain't gonna get nowhere like that. So what I'm talking about tonight, putting a difference between MM and MC, is not in a disrespectful manner. I'm being extremely respectful because I love my brothers and sisters out here in the motorcycle community. Um, but I also understand who I am and whose I am. And if we were to get real scriptural on tonight, we will go to the book of Romans, chapter number 8, I believe it is, where it says that they are waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. The folks on the MC set need the MMs, the motorcycle ministries, to be just that. The men and women of God that we say He's called us to be. Because when they need to reach out to somebody, they need somebody that can get a prayer through. They ain't gonna reach out to you if you, and I'm not talking about you, Jeff, but they ain't gonna reach out to us, and we so busy trying to be like them because real recognize real. If you gonna be living for the Lord, then live for the Lord. I'm not saying, I think I might have said enough. It's just you kind of hit a soft spot there for me. I don't have anything against Christian MCs, but I just stand on MM all day, every day. You know, and my next guest, Retro. Let's do it again. Whenever you ready, brother. Whenever you ready, man. I see you doing your thing, brother, man, and I commend you. I will never, not commend a brother for doing his thing, man. You are constantly doing your thing, man. You are consistently doing your thing, man. And my hat's off to you. And look at that. And I got nappy head, and I still took my hat off to you. So that's nothing but love and respect. So whenever you're ready, man, you let me know. And whenever you want to come on, especially on these Thursdays, man, I will shoot you the link, and you can join us up here any given Thursday that you want to, brother. You just let me know. So with that said and done, again, I said this last week. I'll reiterate it this week on Thursdays, because I don't want to get into the thing where I'm doing interviews on Thursdays. These will be more like a co-host situation. It's not really an interview per se, and it's going to be one of those free for all things. If you want to come on that particular Thursday, then just hit me up. And if we have two or three people on for the night, it is what it is. We'll spend an hour and we'll just do what we do. So make sure you share, and spread the word, because I want to be able to say when it's all said and done, that we've had motorcycle ministries and even Christian MCs, because I'm not against Christian MCs. I just stand on what I stand on. And what I'm standing on is motorcycle ministry. Okay. But we want to open our doors and our platform to all those who are walking in motorcycle ministry, and of course, and even Christian MCs, because I stand on what I stand on, and obviously they stand on what they stand on, and I don't have a problem with them expressing why they stand on what they stand on. It's not about, me proving them wrong. It's just I know what I stand on and I'm going to stand on it. I can respect the reason why another brother will stand on what he stands on, and just, and we just, keep it moving. But we must, and I repeat, we must. If there was another motorcycle ministry doing what I'm doing, I'd be on their show. I'd go on there and I'd support it. Um, but currently, I don't know if there's any other motorcycle ministries that are making an attempt to create a platform that other motorcycle ministries and other people, period, can, kind of benefit from. And I think I think it's necessary in this day and age that we are in right now. And so that's what we are endeavoring to do. And so with that said and done, thank you for joining us on tonight. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me, 980-222-4492. If you got my cell phone number, then you got it. That's the best way to reach me. You can also hit me up on email, retrophilosophy.75@gmail.com, kingdomalignment.mm@gmail.com. We're reachable, folks. We're reachable, man. So make sure you holler at us if you need to. Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, you already know what it is, man. We're looking for a few good folks. So if you love riding motorcycles and you'd like to, join a good, healthy group, check us out. Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry. We'd love to have you on our team. Join Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry today. Not tomorrow, but today. Can't minister to something or someone you can't respect. That is true, sir. I stand on that. I might not agree, but I'm going to give you the respect that you deserve. I might not even like what you did, but I'm going to respect you because you cannot receive from me if I disrespect you. You can't. And I wouldn't expect you to, because I wouldn't receive from you if you just disrespected me. So I'm going to give you the respect that you deserve. Everybody deserves to be respected. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. Let me see here.
Kingdom Alignment
Yeah,
on assignment
Kingdom
for the
Alignment
King. Hope you
on
ready for
assignment
the
for the
show.
King.
Thanks for
Hey,
tuning in. Let's
we're looking for some
go
folks,
ride.
man.
Got
If you
my
want to join
specs
us,
on my
man,
side.
you make
She's
sure
my
you hit us up.
forever bride.
We are
So polite,
looking to
I'm
open up some
revving
other
up,
chapters
so
in some
hold
other
on tight.
states.
We about to
So
level up.
again, if
Catch
you
us
are
on the
considering
turnpike
riding with
from
a
city to
group of
city,
motorcycle
state to
lovers,
state,
then
coast
we
to
might
coast,
be
man.
the group
Make
for
no
you.
mistake, we are
So make sure you get at us, man.
conquerors.
It's your boy Retro,
More
and I'm
than
out of here. Kingdom
conquerors.
Alignment family,
We
y'all.
are
We love you, man. We
conquerors.
love you. We love you.
More than conquerors. Hashtag press play. It's the retro philosophy.
I want to see a Netflix series called Felicia. You never saw Felicia doing drugs. She wasn't a crackhead. She just lost. And everybody lost ain't a dope fiend. Everybody lost is not a dope fiend. They've been telling Felicia bye for 30 years. When y'all gonna say hi, Felicia? The y'all gonna say hi, Felicia? I got you. Ain't nobody been trashed for 30 years. Don't y'all want to know Felicia's story? Don't y'all want to know how she got here? Don't all of y'all know of Felicia?
Yo, what up? This is Marvin Gibson, aka Big Gip, and you are now tuned in to the Retro Philosophy Show.